Hi beautiful people. I'm in the middle of a road trip to visit my family, so right now I'm at Rockaway Beach in Oregon. Please join me on Instagram at GodIsGray if you'd like to see photos and videos of my journey. The topic of this video is something that's been weighing really heavily on my heart. We're gonna dive into toxic masculinity, toxic feminism, make America straight again.
To go back into their shameful closets, go back into the dark where we don't have to see them, where we don't have to deal with them, that'd be good enough.
And figure out who is the most Christian of all Christian YouTubers. In other words, we're diving into the us versus them mentality. For over a year, I've been thinking a lot about the state of our nation. YouTube and Facebook are definitely a wild west for hate comments and bullying, but even offline, I've noticed such a decay in our collective communication. That said, while preparing this video, I actually came across Bethany from Girl Defined echoing the exact same sentiment.
It just honestly shocks me the level that we as a society have come to in the way that we communicate to each other. Like, I literally feel like we're in a kindergarten room. I think we get so focused on the things we disagree about that we like dehumanize people.
Now, I will address the concept of not hurting others because in Christianity, yes, there are certain doctrines that end up harming people. But I do believe what Bethany is saying here is sincere and valid.
Even if we completely disagree, like, we're all human, and at our core, we probably have a lot of things in common.
For example, when I researched Tommy Lahren for this rebuttal, I was quite humbled to realize the core of conservative people I thought were my political enemy, actually shared many of my core desires. We're all human beings, so the majority of us are motivated to protect ourselves, to protect our families, and to maintain a sense of peace in this world. Protecting ourselves and the ones we love is not bad in itself, but what we're seeing right now in our culture is a bubbling over of something so toxic and, dare I say, satanic, and that is the us versus them mentality. I know not everyone subbed to God is Gray is Christian, so you might not relate to the spiritual idea of Satan, but when we look at the Greek word for Satan, there is something profound in there that we can all consider. Satan has many names: the devil, Lucifer, Beelzebub, but in the Greek in which the Bible was written, this entity is also referred to as diabolos, meaning the one who divides. This article from ID 916 explains the Greek words dia and bolos mean across and who throws. Put together, they identify someone who throws across, the one who creates chasms, ruptures connections, breaks down relationships, and divides. This is what the devil is. The divider. This article goes on to ask if we've seen this kind of division throughout history. Times where leaders have pitted races or communities or social classes against one another. And if so, do we not see how prevalent that division is in America today? Anyone who promotes the us versus them mentality, who points and says they, them, the other, aside from me, is promoting this division. You are dehumanizing people by separating, and that is exactly what the enemy wants. My call to all of you, Christian or not, is to not fall for this emotional and spiritual trap. Now, I know there are valuable things boiling to the surface, things we have long ignored that need to be addressed. But there is a distinct difference between rising up for what you know is right and demonizing others on the basis of religious beliefs, skin tone, political party, country of origin, sex, sexual orientation, etc. For example, there are feminists and there are radical feminists. The former is a movement of love and compassion. The latter, a movement based in fear and bitterness.
I am the feminist who is out to ruin your life.
The male version of this same toxicity is MGTOW, or men who go their own way.
A level 3 MGTOW uses women strictly for the pump and dump.
There are many toxic movements popping up in America right now, most notably the abhorrent Make America Straight Again campaign.
I mean, if we can get the government to actually do what it's supposed to do and put them to death, that'd be amazing, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that one.
A lot of you guys have asked me to comment on this, and I was debating back and forth because I do not want to give this kind of vile bigotry any more attention than it already has. But I would like to say that, of course, as a Christian, or even just as a human being with 1 ounce of moral integrity, that yes, I condemn and reject this movement, their words, and their actions. One of the foundational truths for Christians is that Jesus Christ came to leave with us the Holy Spirit, our direct communication to God. And with this Spirit came the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians 5, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This man, however, is overflowing with hate, fear, rage, pride, bigotry, and vengeance.
Well, they're not hurting anybody. They're hurting everybody just by existing in the public sight.
The hate he's spewing from this pulpit is satanic. It in no way reflects Jesus. And I have to admit, there's a huge part of me that is committed to empathy. I always want to step in other people's shoes. It helps me forgive them, to understand where they're coming from. But when people's fear and weakness leads them to bigotry, and look at this man, he is a fear-based, weak individual. I can't feel sorry for him just because he's scared, because this is a grown man. He is accountable for his words and actions, and he is calling for the literal murder of the LGBTQ community. All of us as Christians, no matter where you stand on this issue, have to condemn the actions of this movement. To go with the Satan theme, the Make America Straight Again movement is from hell, and it can go back to hell. Radical feminism, MGTOWs, the Make America Straight Again movement are all extremes, none of which I support. But many of us have fallen prey to the us versus them mentality in much subtler ways. Defending America or being a social justice warrior are not bad within themselves. But as we say in Christianity, consider the fruit. When you condescend someone in person or on the internet, do they draw closer, feeling heard and understood, being receptive to what you're saying? Or does your approach further alienate others? This does not mean you shouldn't stand up for what you believe in, but in religious or political discussions, we often write each other off as a redneck or an idiot or a snowflake or a dumb millennial. We have to stop diminishing each other to mere cliches. And sadly, in Christianity, it's just as bad, and the bullying goes both ways. For example, people who disagree with me often turn that disagreement into a hatred, or they call me demonic, or say I'm a detriment to society, or just condescend me and ask if I've ever read a Bible. I found this condescension in Ali B. Stuckey's assessment of God is gray.
God is not gray. You are confused, okay?
And there's a certain Christian YouTuber I will not name who sends me prayers that I find mighty judgmental. Like, I hope your heart is renewed in the Lord. I am praying that you experience a revelation in who God is and how he has called his children to live. Praying that I, a professed Christian, find the true God, aka see doctrine from your superior view, is really as kind as sending me a cake with dog poo for frosting. Maybe the intention was pure, but the ego behind it is just crappy. I asked both these women if they would talk, engage in dialogue, maybe even argue a little bit, and they both turned me down. And that's okay. We don't all owe each other a conversation, but I do wish I could see more compassion and dialogue among Christians who disagree.
I do wish that we could disagree and be more civil about it.
This is why I love Mr. Atheist, for example. We fundamentally disagree, but we respect each other. Our shared goal is to promote these kinds of conversations in your own lives, to inspire you guys to put down your swords and talk to whoever you consider the quote other. And I know it's hard to stay calm when someone's perspective will inevitably cause pain to others, but consider this.
There are a lot of people who don't like what we say, and so not just disagree, but write extremely hateful content. One thing I always wonder is if you are trying to win us over to your worldview, saying like, I hope you get run over by a bus today, do you think that's gonna win us over?
And I know not everyone, especially those who've been directly hurt by toxic doctrine, will feel the need or desire to change people's minds. That's okay. That's not everyone's responsibility. But for any of us whose goal is for others to be receptive to our view, listen to what Kristen is saying. She is saying she's open for civilized conversation. Every side of every divided movement in America is capable of stepping in one another's shoes, walking around, and finding common ground. You may even become friends, like me and Dr. Julie Slattery. On the other hand, when someone brutalizes or others you, you're allowed to walk away. All said, I am aware that I've been poking all kinds of hornet's nests since starting God is Gray. Recently, I went after Paul and Morgan's abortion and birth control videos pretty intensely, but I also hope I made my intentions clear. I'm not after those people. I do not doubt their goodness or faith. I just cannot watch a video that misinforms people about sexual health or promotes assault.
She woke up in the middle of the night. He was having sex with her. And I said, well, do you feel like you need to call the police and have them locked in jail?
Or leads to victim blaming.
When you don't even respect yourself, how do you expect someone, especially of the opposite sex, to respect you?
But none of that is about disliking, let alone hating my fellow Christians. It's because I believe we're supposed to challenge one another and grow in our walk with God. And I am not implying that I'm the best Christian of Christian YouTubers and that I will always get it right. I simply want what Bethany and Kristen are asking for, which is compassion and understanding and the desire to find common ground. This division, this successful move of Satan, of Diabolos, needs to stop. And we all have the power to turn it around. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you thought of this video. And if there are any Christian YouTubers that you would like me to talk to, let me know, or maybe even link them this video and tell them that I'm open, receptive, I'm not out for a fight, to show how maybe Christians who see things from different points of views and perspectives can actually have a good conversation, can actually love one another through our disagreement. And that's it. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, donate to my Patreon or Venmo if you can. I love you guys. God bless.